And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, Tickety Boo, everything's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, son. Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Have you ever looked at your life and thought, this should feel better than it does right now? Everything's fine on paper, but something just feels off. I had a client say something to me recently that really made me think. He said, I didn't realise how sad I was until I was happy again. Welcome to another episode of Tickety Boo. I'm here with Ian and Iona, and today we want to talk about this because it really resonated with me while this client was sat there. Because when he told me the story of how sad he was feeling, he actually went, I'm functioning really well. I'm doing, well in my job. I've got the car, I've got the house, I've got the wife, I've got the children, we have the holiday. But it was that sadness or unhappiness that just sat there, and these glancing moments that come through. And it's this strange state where you're not really in a crisis and you're not falling apart. You're just maybe a bit flat, or you're not really fully alive. And I don't think a lot of people realise this is going on because there's technically nothing wrong. And I'm kind of curious what you two make of this. Does it resonate with you? Is it something you've experienced yourself in your own lives?
Yep, it resonates with me big time. I mean, for me personally, I get involved in a project, or I get, for me, if I do a certain kind of project, it's not just a job, it's a whole lifestyle for a period of time. Mm-hmm. But then what happens is a lot of the things that are important to me start to fall away. So I'll stop, I'm in that many different WhatsApp groups, I'll stop responding to friends, I'll stop going out on the motorbike, I'll stop. And what happens is over time, the little bits that make you and you enjoy start to fall away, and you don't understand why, that you start to just feel as if there's just something missing. Yeah. But it's just not all there.
Do you feel like a guilt of feeling this? Because actually you should be very grateful for the life that you've got and the achievements that you've made. And you're like, God, we've talked about this, haven't we, before, where somebody would give anything to have your problems and your worries. So you almost feel guilty about feeling a bit sorry for yourself. But just because your life on paper looks good, that doesn't really mean anything, does it?
No, because it's the highlight reel, or then that's when you kind of beat yourself up. That it's like, well, I should be happy, and you're in that cycle. I've definitely had moments, and as I've shared before, I had postnatal depression. I've been clinically depressed 2 other times. But I remember the third time when I was for clinical depression, I was living somewhere else, and I actually had to argue with the doctor because I said, I think I might be depressed, and I'd started seeing a talk therapist, and they had pointed out that maybe I'm actually depressed, and that's really kind of at the root of a lot of the issue. And I had to argue with the doctor and say, no, they think, and it's like, but you don't seem happy. So even the doctor, it was a very sort of regimented doctor, like they argued with me and said, no, but you don't seem it, like you seem fine. Look at your life, look what you're doing, look where you're living. And so that was really strange because it's kind of the other way. But I didn't know I was sad until someone else told me this might be this again.
There's this really interesting thing about how our brains work and how they adapt really quickly. So we'll hit a goal, we'll buy a thing, we build a business, we get the promotion, we get the relationship, and then the brain resets. It doesn't stay in that elevated position. And what we tend to do is build these lives around achievement. And then when the buzz of that stops, what's left after the noise settles?
Do you know what that reminds me of? 100%. Do you know the Only Fools and Horses episode where he found the watch and he sold it and they got all the dreams, and then afterwards, in the third part, Del Boy, he's kind of lost it all, but it was the journey that made Del Boy. Yeah. Actually having it all. It was the journey that was the fun bit.
That's so true, yeah.
It's not actually the destination. It's the thing.
And I think it's because we're all unconsciously following these blueprints of what life should be about. We don't know who's given us the blueprint. And, for me, at one point in my life, I was striving to be the richest person when they died. You got all this money and stuff, and you're like, what am I doing this for?
When we were 22, that seems okay, but now we're nearly 50. Yawn, really?
Yeah, I know. But that was the underlying message. It's like I'm striving for all this stuff. So when I leave here,
leave it all behind.
You can leave it all behind, and this is this weird thing that I'm talking about. We're all striving, pushing, doing, following this unconscious blueprint. Unconsciously, humans lie because we copy other people. We watch what they do and we copy their patterns, and we realise, then we don't realise why are we unhappy, because we're working, we're raising kids, we're in relationships, we're earning money. But the blueprint is not our blueprint, and very few of us go, I'm going to press the pause button and take a right good look at my blueprint, because it's not right.
Yeah. I've done this actually following a session with a client where these are always the difficult ones. It's when you have a load of stuff that runs in parallel to your life, so you wind up start thinking about your own stuff as well.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
But I have given a bit of thought to this, and I think I do need direction. I know everybody tells me I should calm down, but that's a part of what I need. A lot of my unhappiness is because on paper, if you go back 20 years and says this is what you'll be, this is where you'll be, this is what you'll have, I would never believe them in a million years.
Yeah.
So I've got so much to be grateful of. But one of the things that got me there, and my biggest enemy, is I hyper focus. So it's what I focus on that then takes my mind away from what I've got against what challenges I've still got, how somebody else has behaved. And because I focus on these, I take my mind off the bigger picture of where I am, which is really great. And then I hyper-focus on these negative situations, which then brings me down generally.
I think the problem is, and this is my opinion, most hyper-focus tends to be an anxiety state.
Yeah.
It's not a flow state. It's not a creativity state. We are unconsciously conforming to our belief systems and our mindsets.
Yeah. It's very much the achievement trap, isn't it? It's like just
it
on that
is.
cycle.
It is.
Got to be successful, got to do all this, and we don't realise actually we're not finding any joy in this. We're just doing the things, ticking the box, getting the car, like doing all those things definitely earlier.
That's because we build life around safety. I need to build safety around me, or we're spending a lot of time chasing approval. That's that blueprint that I was talking to about that none of us really signed up to.
I mean, I'm going to go back to me now because it's all about me, of course.
Go on, Ian, it's your podcast. Go for it.
But a lot of it is, for me, it's a sense of freedom. It's been restricted by everybody else's eye, everybody else, my own thoughts mostly. But when I get to the end of something and then I suddenly feel free to do what I want, as I want to do it, that's when I'm happiest. I'm not sort of jumping to everybody else's tune, and I just get that. For me, that's my goal. It's that freedom, and it's not about being able to do what you like when you want. It's about having the choices to do what you want. And sometimes what you're doing doesn't necessarily fit 100% where you are. It's time to pivot. It's time to change. But when you're sad, you've got that. You feel flat. You've got that lack of motivation for what's around you. You feel flat. You feel unmotivated. You can't really pull any energy out. You're not really loving yourself because you're not doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And the best way to get up there and help yourself is to love yourself, and because that's when you want to help someone.
Well, I kind of created a set of questions off the kind of feeding into what you've just said, a set of questions that I would like us to go through, but I'd also like the listeners of the podcast to just reflect and maybe, come back to them as well.
Yep.
So the first question is, when was the last time you felt properly alive? And what were you doing?
I've actually had a lot of them recently, and it's a great question because it's like, when were you most like yourself? So definitely, I'm studying at the moment, doing my teacher training, and I forgot how much I love teaching psychology, positive psychology. So that was a very practical, like, I really love this. I need to deliver more of this. And the other was just being with friends and going walking. Like, I've got some really great friends in my life. It's like, and they really are the thing that keeps me like grounded and in a good way happy.
I take you talking about me and Ian at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. As you bribe me with chocolate.
Okay.
What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
Probably the last time I felt properly alive was on a very early morning walk with Barney. It was kind of quite frosty and it was a crisp morning, and I was just really present in the walk, and I just felt really alive. And don't get me wrong, it didn't last like that long, 20, 30 minutes, but I really liked the feeling of it. What about you, Ian?
I sporadically get periods where you just wake up and you just feel, I feel absolutely great today, which is a bit random because you don't feel terrible any other time.
Yeah.
Thinking about that question, I was kind of like half hoping you wouldn't come back to me and you'd forget about it. But damn you two, you do make me think when we have these conversations. And I was going through different things in my head and trying to find one that doesn't link to a sense of achievement, having done something, because that's kind of false.
Different.
It's propped up.
Yeah.
So that's now making me think quite deeply about myself. So for me, it's when I travel.
Yeah.
I've
that
got-
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I love to travel.
Well, ironically, because Ian struggles with that question, the next question segues beautifully in for Ian, which is...
Let's ask him first.
Yeah, and we'll go to Ian first. The next question is, are you busy or are you fulfilled?
At the moment, I'm busy. I do get periods of fulfillment, and I've got no reason not to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
100% honesty. Do I sometimes think that everything, the machine's there, but there's just maybe one cog that's not turning in sync, and there's might be something missing? Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Iona? Are you busy or fulfilled?
I would say both, but I do sometimes have a tendency to be busy being busy, but I'm doing multiple things all at the same time. And every time I think, okay, I'm going to slow down now, then I do something else. So
I flick between the two as well, I think.
Yeah.
There's no one dominant thing. I think sometimes not sometimes. I am very guilty of getting busy for the sake of being busy and then being frustrated that I don't feel fulfilled.
I'm tired.
And tired, yeah. And then somebody comes and asks me something and you're like, oh, for God's sake, can you not see I've got all of this?
Well, there's always
Going
something
on.
else to do.
Yeah.
And then
Always.
flitting between the two. I'm busy doing something that I always said will fulfil me, but then as I'm busy achieving it, I'm quite self-critical, so I'm picking holes in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it at the same time. So I'm almost taking my own sense of fulfilment away by picking holes in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it.
Okay, so the next question is, if everything stayed exactly as it is now, how would you feel?
I think I would like to slow down a little bit and maybe not be quite so busy as I'm like here with you today. I'm down to Newcastle tomorrow. I'm back in Glasgow. And there's a lot of things I'm doing at the moment, all things I'm really loving, but I think I would slow down more and spend more time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We talked about this earlier. So obviously, when we record these episodes, Ian is on an early morning flight up from Birmingham. I pick you up from the airport. We record a batch of episodes and then I'm running you back to the airport.
Yeah.
This weekend's different because you're up for the weekend. We're doing some training. And actually that feeling of picking Ian up this morning going, we can do the podcasts, but then we can decompress and the climb down. It actually felt quite good that, and then obviously we can spend time chatting and catching up and all the rest of it. And I've actually realised that element of my life is massively important, but it's an area of my life that's neglected.
Yeah.
Because I'm already busy moving from the one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and there's always something to be done.
Yeah.
Younger me liked that. Older grumpy me's not quite so much into that.
So is it space in between?
Space and capacity.
yeah.
Space and capacity.
So
100%.
at the moment, you're just filling your capacity without giving yourself any space.
Which segues beautifully into the next question, which is, are you chasing the next thing because you don't want to sit still?
I think my answer is no, but every time I do sit still, then I manage to find something else to fill that time with.
My answer's yes and no.
My answer's the same. Yes and no.
Yeah, I definitely recognise I've got to get better at doing nothing. But I think we associate doing nothing with being lazy, slipping backwards, regressing, whatever you want to look at it. And nothing is probably not the right word. but I need to get better at just enjoy what you've already achieved. Stop this I think you used the phrase achievement trap.
Achievement trap, yeah.
Get out of the achievement trap, because it is definitely a trap, and it's one that I can see. And it's like, I've done this, I bet I could move the bar higher, and now we could do this, and now we can do that. Don't get me wrong, I think it's good to push and strive, but there's a point, like, where's the end point? And don't moan that you've got no time or space to enjoy things if you're always moving on to the next project. Do you get what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes we don't even realise it. The final question is, have we normalised a level of sadness? When I use sadness, I don't mean like sad. It can just feel, that feeling empty or not fulfilled, or, however you want to deem that. But have you normalised this level of sadness that you don't even question the state when you're in it anymore?
I think we think it's adulting.
Part of life.
That's just what happens. You just got to get on with it. I think sometimes we think, this is just adulting, and it doesn't need to be.
That blueprint that we talked about. Yeah.
I 100% agree with what you were just saying. You just kind of, because life gets stressful, there's always something to do. I mean, how much of it is actually to stress about?
Yeah.
Most of it's everyday stuff.
Well, I having the benefit of knowing you most of my life, I see the different personas, and I watch when you drop into the court jester, which I don't think is the real court jester. I actually think it's Ian. And you actually light up, and your energy just sort of massively comes alive. And then I watch the persona of you when you're in I don't know the word battle, but the heat of battle, you're in it, and your energy's very different, and it's kind of like, but you are doing incredible things, and I've watched you achieve in like huge success, but actually what that does to your energy and how it dims your light and how that impacts the people around you, the ripple effect of that kind of coming out.
Again, 100% agree. And damn you again, making me think in front of all those viewers. But we have had a conversation in the past where I've said, for me, perfection is not perfection. I enjoy being imperfect. I enjoy being the cheeky chap, thinking everything that I say is hilariously funny, which obviously I'm the only man in the room laughing. But then I do spend a lot of time in that other state where my energy is different. And when you point it out like that, I do agree.
And I don't think, this is not a criticism, it's an observation, because I don't think this is about us blowing our lives up.
No.
I definitely don't think about that. I think it's noticing the areas of our life that we've maybe avoiding, that need attention, and admitting that you're not okay with things the way that they are or the way that they make you are, and you don't necessarily know what the solution is, but actually just to get that up on a post-it note somewhere, that this needs attention, this needs looked at. It's a nudge, isn't it? A nudge that something needs to be looked at, because if everything stays exactly as it is, and what I mean is, as the time of recording this, it's Friday and it's 11:51 in the morning. If everything stayed as it was at this exact moment, at this hour of this day, would you be okay with that?
At this precise moment, no.
Snap.
Interestingly, no.
Mm.
Just because I think, again, it's this needing to belong, and we have an intrinsic need as humans to have belonging and meaning in our lives. And I think a lot of the things keep me busy in a way, because my son, at some point, he's going to move who knows where, and I think staying close to those people and seeing those people more that are important to you.
And for me, depending on, like, right now, the state, I'm not in a terrible state. I've got a lot of different things happening. I'm not in a terrible state at all. So, but where I am and how I function depends on where I'm drawing the energy in my thought patterns. So I use different parts of my brain to operate according to the circumstances that I'm in.
Compartmentalising.
And right now, the parts of the resources that I'm using within my own brain aren't the ones that make you happy. They're the functional ones that are getting stuff done. It's survival mode, and it's dealing with situations rather than the bits that give me fulfillment and happiness.
Well, I think that means that we have a question that we need to ask ourselves then, which is, what would need to change if we stopped pretending we were okay? Do you,
Yeah.
because sometimes the answer to that's pretty uncomfortable. And that involves you taking a look at your environment, the people around you, the things you tolerate, your values, your boundaries, your why.
Is it situational, or is it, part of your lifestyle? Is it part of your, your social circle? I mean, a lot of my stuff at the moment, some of it's situational. Well, in fact, most of it's situational. It's work-based. It's stress is related to that. Some of it is actually within the social element.
Yeah.
But those ones where I can put distance, I know what I've got to do.
But the reality is, where your energy is with that at the moment, in the context of everything in life, it's really not that important.
It isn't. But again, depending, the quality of your thinking, the quality of your thoughts are dictated by...
Your feelings.
Your feelings at the time.
Yeah.
And right now I'm not working from that higher level place of joy, fulfillment and happiness.
Well, that's because you're telling yourself a story.
And there you go.
and that's what needs to be looked at. If this episode has resonated with you, if you're sitting listening to this right now going like, wow, those questions have really sort of, landed with me and it's really made me think, you must know other people that could really do with listening to this kind of stuff. So please share the episode with someone you know. We would massively appreciate it. If this did resonate with you, ping us a message. We have episodes coming up where a message, somebody asking us a question, we've turned it into an episode. So, as always, we hugely appreciate you listening. And in next week's episode, we're talking about why is it so hard to leave a toxic friend and why does walking away feel complicated? Thanks very much for watching.
If you or someone close to you needs to access mental health support, please contact your GP, or if it's out with normal office hours, get in touch with NHS 24 on 111. Alternatively, contact the Samaritans on 116 123. All calls are free of charge from any phone. You can also find more support information on the Tickety Boo website, ticketyboopodcast.co.uk.